Good evening, folks. How you doing? It's me again, Jimmy Morrow, down at Dreadnought Forge. Down here at the workshop again, down near Tandragee, Northern Ireland. Now, just saw another wee chance for another wee video tonight. A few more ideas came in for a wee video, so I thought I'd take advantage of that and do a wee quick one tonight. Now, I know our previous ones have gone on quite long, and I'll try and keep it short and sweet tonight, but the topic that the guy, one of the guys suggested there, designing knives, it's a pretty big topic, so I'll do our best to keep it short and sweet. Now, beginnings. Another suggestion for a video tonight was from Anthony Smith, the dichotomy of good and evil. Now, yeah, shades of grey, my friend, yin and yang. What can I say? It's all from where you stand. Cheers, Anthony. Thanks for all your videos. It's been a big inspiration. Keep doing them. Love watching them. Like I said, like our Mike Palmer. Mike is a knife maker over in England, and he suggested that we talk about kind of designing knives. And I noticed that Mike is in the middle. He's on a project of his own here, and he's making a knife. I think it looks like a bit like a Warncliffe inspired blade. Now we'll go over a bit more like that later on. Say what Warncliffe is. But Mike, that looks like a fantastic blade. Well done, man. Looking really, really cool at the moment. Now, I saw some of the pictures Mike put up of what the process he was going through, and it showed you him designing, stepping through the design of the blade, start to finish. And it kind of made me think. I can relate to lots of steps that he was doing. I want to talk about those tonight. Now, we can the design of a blade. Anybody who's in this scene for any length of time at all can just see how much variation there is in every design, how many makers are out there, how many are putting their own stamp on things, how many shapes, sizes. It's a world it's a complete world of variety out there, and you can do a thousand different designs. And well, there's no way I could cover everything, so I just want to talk about some of the things that influence me, the way I go about things, and see if it sparks off a debate from there. Now I think we can split this into two main two main groups. One being, where do you get your inspiration, and where do you start? Where do you go looking for a design? And number two is how do you go about getting that idea down on the page? So first of all, inspiration. I keep rabbiting on about how my love of the work of Bob Loveless. And I remember one of the books I was reading, so one of the articles I was reading, he spoke about he could trace, he was like his work. He considered his work that he was tracing his lineage back right the way back to the mists of time, where folk were gathered around a fire, and somebody in the wilds, and perhaps in a cave around a fire, was fashioning a tool, a sharpened edge to make their life easier to use in their everyday life. And he liked to think himself as harking back to that there, and he was a modern day equivalent of this person making this tool to do a job. And again, I spoke about this before, that this comes back to the function following form. Now, this is a journey. This is definitely a journey, and my own journey. I've sat and watched people talk about their designs and where to start and all the rest. And a common theme is it goes back to function following, or form following function. Usually, you'll have an idea of what you want this tool to use for. Are you coming from an outdoors background? Are you coming from, say, something you want to use in the kitchen? Is it something you want to use like fishing, specifically fishing, hunting, gathering, bushcraft? Again, through these activities, you'll have an idea of what kind of functions you want this thing to do. What shape it works best for you. Knives you've had in the past, what have worked for you, what you found useful, what haven't been so useful. Again, you'll be starting somewhere with something in mind. A couple of interesting things come up recently with myself. I'm a big fan of podcasts, and a couple in particular spring to mind. I like listening to him here in the workshop while I'm doing other things, like at the bench, just having playing in the background or in earphones. And two in particular I'm a big fan of. One being Mark of the Maker, and this is some American guys, Mark Steiner, and he's hosting the podcast along with three really prominent knife makers in America, really top end guys, Tom Crane, Sean Kendrick, apologies Sean, and Michael Birch, and really love them just sitting around having the crack and just chatting about their work. And they're all quite different styles, and it's interesting to see the interplay and how their common themes and differences and all the rest. One of their episodes recently was entitled Ethnic Knives, and it brought around it kind of showed the kind of evolution of blade shapes from around the world, that folk from like the four corners of the world, different shapes have evolved in their local kind of areas to be used in their everyday lives, to be used for different things. And I found that really insightful. Just kind of showed how like all these old patterns, like from the Far East, is Jambaya, I believe they're called, or all these like from the wilds of Siberia. They're still being influencing shapes today. Makers today are still going back to these like kind of like patterns and using them as inspiration for today's work. Another podcast is Behind the Blade. Matt Martin and Jim Stewart. I love listening to them. The passion really comes through, but especially because they both have a real kind of affinity for early turn of the century and before American makers from the industry there, likes of Randall, or I think he's a bit more modern, maybe mid-century, 30s, 40s, 50s, right through. Randall, who else? Marbles, turn of the century, big producer, and Skagel. Now, these folk are prominent in their designs are for hunting knives, knives for the outdoorsman in America, in the West, where these knives would be used for a specific purpose, and for skinning game, for hunting, for processing game, for camp chores. And their love for these patterns comes through, and you can see how they're again this form is the design of these things are designed for a specific task, for sitting for a job. Now, I'd recommend check out these podcasts, check out these designs, and so just to get the idea. Like, I find it very inspirational, so I recommend you do the same. There are certain designs, there are certain patterns. There's only so many ways that you can, that this tool, functional tool, can be shaped. At the end of the day, I believe it comes down to a certain set of patterns that through time, through use, have been found to work, and these can be broken down to like certain categories. Now, I've done a very bad kind of illustration for these. You can see here, you can find this list all over the internet. There's very easy to find. I found this easy list on Pinterest. And there's common kind of like blade shapes, drop point, clip point, sheep's foot, Warncliffe, straight back, spear point, dagger, trailing point, tanto, a skinner. Now these all have kind of distinct shapes, and they're all kind of distinct jobs in mind. Now, I could speak here for hours about why each one is a certain way for a certain job, for a certain design, and has come to evolve this way through the present day. Now, if you look at my phone, it's full of designs. Trying to pick up ones I like from all over the place, just to get an idea of lines and whatever else, what works, and trying to see how I put my own mark, my own style, my own twist on things, just to make it like an individual. Now again, there's only so many ways you can do this, and a lot of common like themes will run through, but again, it's possible to put your own spin on these designs. Right, find if you're coming to this from the first time, uh, find examples of these. Find the illustrations all over the place for this. Find examples of these and put your own spin on things. Just draw them out. This comes down to this, right? The second part. You've got a design in your head, right? I've got, say, right, I'm outdoors. I'm designing something for my cousin. My cousin's a hunter, and he's going on a big hunting trip in a couple of months' time, and he wants something to bring with him, something a bit special. Okay, so I'm sitting down here, and I'm trying to think of the best design I can think for a hunting knife, for processing small game, and I've got a specific set of parameters in mind. I want the size, material, what blade shape I think is going to be most useful. How to go about putting this on the page and coming up with a pattern, a template from which to take the next step. Now, it's not going to be much advice to anybody, but it's a blank page. It's literally a blank page. I like graph paper. Nice squares. Gives me like this graph paper's 5mm squares. Gives me like a size, like something to work off. Like just drawing out ideas. Now, it depends whether or not I'm going to approach this through a smithing aspect. If I'm going to hammer it out on the anvil, or if I'm going to do stock removal. If I'm going to approach this with a stock removal in mind, then I'm going to start out with blade stock steel in a certain size, which I think is going to be as close to what they want the finished article to be. So that'll give me an idea how broad this blade is going to be, and so I'll start off, say 300 or 30mm, 3cm thick. Say if I want quite small blade, I'll start out with say something like this here. I'll draw two lines, 30mm apart, 3cm apart. So that represents my stock steel. Now, I will try and fit my pattern into those two lines, and so those are your boundaries. What can you fit into this design through that? Now that's pretty self-evident. There's no secrets there, kind of thing. And there really isn't many secrets in this. It's a matter of choosing your profile, choosing what size you want it to be, and then just starting drawing. Now, I'll show you what I've got a recent one here. Now, I sat here one night and I just drew out, I wanted to make a drop point. I've got a plate of paper, you can't really see there, but I just drew design after design after design. You see it there. There's maybe about 10, 15 designs on there. Now, that's just trying different things, trying different lines, trying different profiles, just within those 3cm parameters. Now, what designs can I fit into this piece of steel? Give this a go. Try it. It's harder than you think. It really is harder than you think. It can drive you absolutely mad. But different lines. A millimeter here, a millimeter there can make all the difference. A lot of guys use these. I've started to use these now too. It's a French curve. It's a tool, a template with, well, different degrees of curve on the edge. Now, it's not a constant. Well, it probably is a constant, but there's different degrees of curve on each part of this. And to get the sweep of a blade, this is perfect for it. It's fantastic. Now, up here, if I want to make a Skinner blade, a big deep belly, I can go up here for a deeper curve right up to the point. If I want more flowing, go back, more gentle curve back here. You can see, you know, it's a matter of sitting down and just doing it again and again and again. You'll fill books with your designs, your profiles, and just keep on doing it until one speaks to you. There's one down here. Out of this whole crowd of designs, there's two that spoke to me. One here, just a drop point, and there's there's literally 5mm difference between the back of the handle from the next one. But just every time I look at it, I just smile. I just like, that's the one, right? That's the one I'm going to do. A few tips. Well, here. Everyone does their own. Everyone finds their own way. Your designs will evolve. If you look at mine here, all my early pieces. I showed a picture of this the other day, and this is coming from my own experience, as in I've got this deep finger toiling here because I've had experience before where my finger slipped, and just even the cutting action, my finger slipped and it's cut myself, cut this forefinger on the blade. Therefore, I like this big deep finger toiling. It features most of my designs, so I like to integrate that. Now, this was an early one, an early drop point. You can see, right, 10 centimeters or 12 centimeters, but it's quite a small finger toil. You know, around at the back, around the butt, and you know, right. So that was an early one. This evolved through time, maybe over a year. Started liking this. It's a wee bit longer, a bit more of a handle. Extended choil here, just to give yourself just a wee bit more purchase, a wee bit more protection. So it's evolved around a wee bit, so that rounded end of the handle. Now, the latest incarnation is a wee bit different. Okay, I found one of my other designs, we Nesmith design. I really like this handle. Now, I find that comfortable in most positions. I really like the look of it, the aesthetics of it, and that's half the battle here. It's function, but it should look pretty as well. It should make you smile when you look at it. Now, this is the latest one, so this is the latest step in that design. So you see, most of my work, I try and integrate that kind of handle just because I like it. Unless someone asks for something different, this is the kind of like handle I go for. I start out with wee Nesmith here, wee neck knife. It's quite a small handle. I don't like that as much anymore. That's evolved. Similar design. One of my belt knives here, the little handle's longer. It's trial and error, just doing it, seeing what works, seeing what feels nice in your hand when you actually get it out. Template, take it off the page, put on some cardboard, some fiberboard, something thick, just to get a feel of the handle. It's a mark of a good design, a good pattern is, right, have it in your hand, close your eyes and just feel it. Is it comfortable? Is there anything sticking into your hand? Is there any points where it's just uncomfortable, even at this stage, without even the scales on it? You'll know then that, you know at this point, like, do I like this one better? Do I like, you know, okay, I prefer this. I think this is, you know, to me now, this hand is a wee bit short. Okay, no problem. Even my shorter blades, so I'm doing neck knives now, I tend to integrate the longer handle just because I found that works. Feels good in your hand. Might be different variations in the blade, up to 12 centimeters down to about 7 or 8 now, but always try and keep a good handle size. So that's just experience, that's just what I like, that's what I found to be useful, and I choose to integrate that into my designs. Now it will keep evolving. There's another one here. Again, full handle, shorter blade, just a slightly different profile in the blade, and just a different shape on the spine. These are just all aspects that you kind of comes into it, kind of thing, you know. Again, 2 variations on the drop point. The point going the same kind of way, a wee bit more point to that, but you know, different jobs. Coming from the same place. A lot of designs, if you're setting yourself parameters, as in I want to be hunting knife, I want it to be 10 centimeter blade, 4-inch blade, or slightly less. I want a full handle. I want rounded at the back. I want it, you know, curved at the back. You will find there's a lot of, you know, you find a lot of designers have already been there, and if even cold, you haven't seen a design like it before. You have something sketched out, you'll have something designed out, and you've got to the point where you've actually you've made your blade, you've you know, it's all profiled out, it's all bevels are in, you know, right, put the handle on, and you'll be flicking through, you know, going through Facebook or going through the internet and going through some of the forums, and you'll find something else is almost identical. Now, complete accident. If you're coming from the same place, setting yourself the same parameters, there's only so many ways you can do it, and oftentimes you'll find that, you know, someone's had worked their way through totally independent means that, you know, you've come through to the same conclusion. But there's always some way to put your own spin on it. You know, a couple of millimeters here, a couple of millimeters there. You guys, you know me, like, you know, I'm a fan of slip joint knives, and like a lot of classic slip joints, they have swedges. Now that's just a slight bevel on the spine of the blade. Now I find that, I think looks nice. I think it looks pleasing to the eye. It also lightens up the blade. It also, if I'm using heavy stock, sometimes I want a strong knife. It can take some of the mass away from the spine, just balance it out a wee bit. You know, there's different uses for it, and I've started to integrate that. Again, you know, inspiration comes from different places. Like my wee slip joint knife, you know, it's vastly different. Can't be used, you know, it shouldn't be used for the same jobs as your hunting knife. Well, it can be, but you know, they have their different roles, different purposes. But there can be crossover. You can integrate, you know, designs. You know, you can get inspiration from anywhere. I recently made some Warncliffe fixed blades, just because I like the shape of the Warncliffe blades you find in some slip joints. Anywhere at all. Again, I really recommend you go and check out some of those ethnic knives. Now, again, this one here, a friend, one of my clients asked me to do like a Middle Eastern inspired blade. Now, again, you can see there's my handle. This is one we mocked up. I wanted a practice run before I made the air one, just to practice that the blade profile, grinding the bevels. So this is my wee one. Now in the West, it's called trailing point. Now, this is, to me, it's clearly influenced by the Middle Eastern Indian blades, blades from the I call the Middle East. Again, it's a trailing point just because the point is kind of goes up past the spine, out, and gives a big belly here. Now, that's classically in Western knife design. It's classically used for Skinner blades. The big belly, slicing, you know, fine slicing and kind of like skinning. So again, go back to those classic designs. Go back to those kind of like designs from all around the world, and see where it takes you. That's pretty much it. What am I doing at the moment? Well, at the moment, I'm still processing, you know, going through the orders. At the moment now, so I've got some of my carbon steel blades on the go. I'm in the process of, I've got the bevels ground in. I'm in the process of hand sanding them, or getting the grind lines out of the bevels and out of the flats. Got a wee Kephart blade. I'm really excited about these ones actually. Now again, this is a design that is attributed back to a guy, Horace Kephart. Now this guy is an American guy who was a pioneer in the kind of like conservation and outdoors in the turn of the century, up to I think the 30s, up around then. Now this profile is a tribute to him. It's a profile that I think he carried himself. He designed, he had made himself. I think a local smith made for him, and this is one that kind of he carried his whole, you know, for a good part of his life while he's doing his work in the wilds. And there's a few descriptions out there for his own knife, and I'm trying to make these, at least the first ones, pretty close, as close as I can to what those parameters are. Doing two variations of this wee batch. Now, you see there, they are slightly different lengths. Now the belief is that the original knife started out, when he first started using it, it started out like 5 inches long. The blade was 5 inches, 1 inch thick, slightly tapering up towards the belly, tapered at the spine into a spear point. Flat grind, a very high grind, so it's focusing sharpness. 1/8 thickness, which translates in around 3mm stock. Nice solid rounded end, nice solid handle. I'm bringing slight taper into, just to give us a wee bit more purchase, just give a wee bit more security just in there. So I'm putting my own touch on a wee bit. I know it's been done before, but I just want that extra wee kind of like taper up into the guard there. Now these two, I think the blade evolved through time, through use, through sharpening. So when you sharpen the blade, you're taking steel away. I think it evolved from, started out 5 inches long. I think at one point I believe maybe 4.5 inches. It was shrunk down, used down to about 4.5 inches, and maybe end up around 4. So I think 4 inches. It's verging on a wee bit, you know, like that's maybe 4 and a bit. I can't remember exactly what it was. I'll have to measure it here. So I'm doing 2 lengths just to see which one's the most useful, which one feels the best, which one is the most practical when it's out and about. So that's why I'm doing 2 different lengths. Now there's different. If you look at the different, if you look at Kephart, there's a couple of articles out there where they've got, there's a manufacturer, I can't remember the name of the manufacturer just off the top of my head, but they produce knives to this pattern back in the 30s, and to my knowledge, I believe there's only 2 examples left. Of one was carried by himself and is in a museum somewhere, and the other one is like an original produced, manufactured one by this company. And there's pictures out there of the manufacturer one. I found it. I haven't found his original one. I haven't found pictures of it in the museum. But it's quite interesting. Like for such a, like to me, like that's a very kind of simple profile. But it's deceptively so. It looks to me, you know, it's quite straight. There's no big curves in it. You know, it's quite a straight blade. You know, spear point. But when you read the description, the guy writing it, he was almost in awe of all the wee fine details of what it was. Actually, there's lots going on here. You know, like a wee slight kind of taper up. You know, like it swells out at the end very slightly. Now it's only a couple of millimeters, but like it's like okay, right. And instead of like a lot of blades, you'll find that, you know, the spine, say the handle, 3mm. 1/8 of an inch, 3mm. It'll be 3mm at the spine. Now on this Kephart knife, the spine's chamfered slightly. There's a slight bevel. It's not really a bevel. It's not a cutting edge, but it's just slightly kind of like, you know, beveled, so that the thickest part of the blade is actually just slightly into it there. Now that helps when you're slicing. Just the physics of the slicing, it makes it a sharper knife. It makes it a slicey knife. So again, I'm having me play different amount of chamfering, different amount of bevels in the back. There's only a slight one in this smaller one. A bit more. Took the bevel in a wee bit more here, just to see what works best. So I'm excited about these. Yeah, there you go. The handles, again, there's wee kind of nuances in the handles. I'm looking forward to playing with that. Just the way it rises, just the way it stops. Really excited to have a play with that there. A few belt knives on the go. Again, really like these. It's just wee handy wee knives. Fantastic. Nice broad blade. Really, really good. Any picture up there before on the Facebook and Instagram. This Tekefu Suminagashi steel. It's multi-layered with a nice carbon core. It was sandwiched between different layers of like, it's described as iron. Now I'm not sure if it's just pure iron or if it's like mild steel. I'll have to look it up, research that a wee bit more, but like there's different layers of steel in amongst the iron layers, which when you're in the process of heat treating, sometimes you can lose carbon out of the cutting core. So these layers of the steel within the sandwiching layers. That's designed to stop that, so you retain as much carbon in the cutting edge steel as you can, and it looks really great. It's really, really good. So in the process of doing that, working that, and first time, there's a technique to like reveal the pattern within the steel, coffee etch, using instant coffee to basically just reveal the layers. So it's the first time I've tried that. I'm pretty pleased with it so far. So I think I showed a picture of it to Lee earlier on. I think he's pretty pleased with it too. Hopefully he is. Yeah, doing a wee very slight taper on the handle there. Now, I'm pleased with how this has worked out. Again, this is a journey. I've tried this in the past and I've had really bad results. I've wrecked blades before trying to taper the tangs, and it took a lot of soul searching before I started on this one, because I really did not want this one to get destroyed. But yeah, it's worked out pretty well. So yeah, it's a journey. Trying new things all the time. Have to keep evolving. If you keep doing the same thing all the time, you're not learning. And I have, you guys, you have to keep moving forwards. Yeah. Got a hunting knife here. Now this is the twin. When I'm doing a commission, sometimes if I'm not too sure of a design, I'll do two. I'll make out two blanks, and that is purely to just so if it all goes wrong in the final stages, I don't have to go all the way back to start again. Now this was designed for deer stalker, and yeah, this is the twin. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this one. I'm gonna change it some way. I take the choil down, might do a different grind. Let's experiment with hollow grinds here. I think that gives you more options, more possibilities. Again, you guys coming new to the whole scene, different grinds. You can have Scandi grind, you can have saber grind, you can have a hollow grind, you can have full flat grinds. Now, yeah, have a Google, have a see, have a look. Hollow grinds takes a lot of the mass away from the blade. These are quite thin at the edge, and through sharpening, I'll just it'll remain fine cutting edge for longer than with the other ones. But it's only designed as a cutting tool, the more cutting tool rather than to be able to stand up to more forces. So again, compromise. You pay your money, you take your choice, but it's a useful skill I'm trying to develop. Get the skills going with the old hollow grinds. Now, first one I've kind of done with this, I did them with these other wee Tekefu Suminagashi, just because it's quite thick stock starting off, so I wanted a good fine cutting edge, so did hollow grinds in these. Yeah, try it in a wee kind of like drop point, see how that turns out. Well, thanks very much, folks. Drop us a line, give us a comment, let us know on Facebook, Instagram, drop me an email or a message, any of those ways. Tell me what you think, tell me what else I'd like to think, I'd like to talk about, improvements. I know this is very lo-fi, hopefully I'll improve in the future, folks. And I'm sorry, 30 minutes in, I'll do better next time. Thanks very much, folks, good night, see you soon.